Cruise has starred in such movies, as you know, as Top Gun and The Firm. So he's played all kinds of roles, from a lawyer to a Navy pilot to a drag car racer, and now he's just in drag or something. Yeah, there are the high heels.
Oh, man.
He's almost too pretty to be a woman.
Oh, Tom Cruise. You just ruined. That's Good Morning Cleveland for today. We thank you very much for letting us be a part of your life.
We'd like to eat lunch with you, so join us at noon today.
And have a great day.
Hope all your news is good news.
Cleveland's live 24-hour news source continues.
Hong Kong from the air. 400 square miles of rock and islands hugging the south coast of China. 6 million people call it home. Good morning, America. I'm Joan Lunden, and as you can see, we are midpoint in our week-long visit here to Hong Kong.
And I'm Charles Gibson, and it's good to have you with us on this Wednesday, February 23rd. Our vantage point again, the tip of the Kowloon Peninsula, Victoria Harbor right behind us, and through the mist and the fireboat, you can see the Hong Kong skyline. The rain is holding off this morning. We hope it continues to do so for the next couple of hours, but the sights still spectacular here in Hong Kong. 98% of the people, 98% of the folks who live here are of Chinese heritage, but they are British subjects, have been for 150 years. As we've been discussing, that all changes midnight, June 30th, 1997, when Hong Kong is returned to China, becomes a part of China once again. That is a cause for considerable anxiety here. We've been talking about the subject through the week so far, and we'll be addressing it again today. And there are also 26,000 American citizens living here, and representing their interests is Consul General Richard Mueller. He lives in a big house with an American flag up atop a big flagpole, up way up at the top of some of Hong Kong Island's most expensive real estate, Victoria Peak, and that is where our Spencer Christian is this morning. Spencer, good morning.
Good morning, Joan, and right you are. I happen to be at the home of the U.S. Consul General here at Victoria Peak, often referred to as the Peak by locals. It's the tallest point on Hong Kong Island, and even through this mist, the view is absolutely spectacular. You can see central Hong Kong, Victoria Harbor, and even across the harbor at Kowloon, where you two are this morning. I might add there's some very exclusive real estate up here at the Peak, and the height of your residence here at the Peak is usually considered a reflection of your wealth and your social prominence. Given my position here this morning, I'm expecting a call from Robin Leach any moment. Charlie?
All right, Spencer, I was up there the other day, and we shot some pictures on a clear day. We'll show you those later on. They really are spectacular. Also this morning, we're going to take a look at organized crime in Hong Kong. It dates back some of the secret societies to days before the mafia. And these secret societies here in Hong Kong do have a direct effect on crime in some U.S. cities. So our money editor, Tyler Mathisen, will be looking at what they call the Triads. We'll also be doing some comparison shopping. Everyone comes here to shop. We'll show you where the bargains are. And we're going to take a look at construction scaffolding in Hong Kong. What seems a strange subject, but it's very different, and they use it to build these modern buildings on the skyline. Right now, though, let's go back for the morning news to New York, and here's Morton Dean.
Good morning, everyone. A stunning setback for Russian President Boris Yeltsin. The Russian parliament voted overwhelmingly this morning to grant an immediate pardon to Yeltsin's opponents who staged that armed rebellion last October. The amnesty also covers the communists who tried to overthrow Soviet President Gorbachev in 1991. The new Russian constitution does not permit Yeltsin to overrule the parliament's amnesty action. It hit the highest levels of the U.S. government like a bombshell. The arrest of a top CIA official and his wife, both accused of spying first for the Soviet Union, then for Russia. We get more on that story from ABC's Ann Compton.
Aldrich Ames and his wife were whisked out of federal court near Washington. Ames is suspected of spending the last 9 years of his CIA career as a counter-spy, capable of telling the Russians every secret about American spies operating in the Kremlin.
What he was in position of doing is warning them against American efforts to penetrate their government in their service.
Apparently, the elegant house, the Jaguar, and the whopping credit card bills helped to give the quiet, unassuming Ames away. The FBI also found an incriminating computer printer ribbon in his trash, and it cracked Ames' home computer to find classified messages, even records of payoffs totaling $1.5 million. President Clinton knew about the case for almost a year, but was careful not to tip his hand in meetings with Russian President Yeltsin.
We will be immediately lodging a protest to the Russian government, and I can tell you that it's very serious.
The president has also ordered the CIA to find out what went wrong. Congress will want to investigate, too.
It'll be a couple of months, I suspect, at least, before we really know where we have a composite of what the final allegations will be as to what he compromised.
There have been more than a half dozen serious spy cases broken open during the same 10-year period. But this Aldrich Ames case has a devastating difference. He's the only one who continued to work in a senior CIA staff position the whole time. Ann Compton, ABC News, the White House.
A call to the summit from Boris Yeltsin, who is intensifying Russia's role in trying to end the fighting in Bosnia. The Russian president wants to talk about Bosnia with President Clinton and other Western leaders. Yeltsin proposing a one-day summit meeting, the location to be determined later. The head of the Federal Reserve Board is warning that he may have to take out more insurance against inflation, he calls it. Alan Greenspan told a House subcommittee yesterday that he may have to raise short-term interest rates again to keep inflation in check. A major reversal on the nation's highest court. A Supreme Court Justice, Harry Blackmun, says he'll never again vote to impose the death penalty. ABC's law correspondent Tim O'Brien has the story.
Justice Blackmun first revealed his misgivings about the death penalty in a rare interview last November on ABC's Nightline.
I'm not certain at all that the death penalty can be constitutionally imposed. I haven't taken that position yet, but I'm getting close to it.
Tuesday, Blackmun took the plunge, writing in a Texas case that the death penalty in the U.S. is so riddled with arbitrariness, discrimination, caprice, and mistake that no death sentence may be constitutionally imposed under our death penalty scheme. From this day forward, wrote the court's senior justice, I no longer shall tinker with the machinery of death. I feel morally and intellectually obligated simply to concede that the death penalty experiment has failed.
And of course, there is the problem also of the execution of a person who is possibly innocent, even though he's been convicted in a fair trial.
When he joined the court in 1970, Blackmun was widely viewed as an uncompromising law and order conservative, much like the president who appointed him, Richard Nixon. Tuesday's opinion suggesting otherwise will not have any immediate effect on the more than 2,800 inmates now on death row, because none of Blackmun's colleagues seems to share his views. Blackmun, at 85, is the court's oldest justice. He said he was optimistic the full court would eventually recognize that capital punishment simply may not be administered fairly, but he acknowledged it would take time and that he may not live to see it. Tim O'Brien, ABC News at the Supreme Court.
At long last, it's just about skating time. Tanya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan will be on the ice today, competing today in the first part of the Olympic women's figure skating event. ABC's Donna De Verona is covering the story for us. Donna, on this morning before, is either Kerrigan or Harding favored to win a medal?
Well, I think the United States should be happy if we win a medal. However, Nancy Kerrigan has had her best and most consistent practices. She's even practiced part of her exhibition. That's reserved for athletes at the end of the Olympics who have won medals. Tanya Harding, of course, erratic, unpredictable, landing the very complicated triple axel in workouts, and then coming back to nurture or nurse her sore ankle, and at times being disoriented, like this morning in the main ice arena. And of course, that's very dangerous for a skater to not know where they are in the ice or in their routine.
It sure is. There's a lot of speculation about whether all this publicity will affect the judges. What do you think?
I think the Torval and Dean incident has even put the judges more on alert. Of course, coming into this, every journalist here has said, are you going to be fair? Are you going to judge on criteria? And this will be the first test. But I think they're going to be very careful. And you have a wonderful field of athletes. You have Oksana Bayol, the Ukrainian skater who's just 16. You talk about a person that struggled. She's had tough time with her jumps, but here's a young woman who has no mother, no father, and Viktor Petrenko, the Russian gold medalist, has even had to give her skates and money so she can get here to skate in these Olympics.
Donna,
so
thank
tough.
you. Okay, thank you, Donna. Good talking with you. And that's ABC News on the Hour. Back to Hong Kong and more of Good Morning America.
9 minutes after now, from the Regent Hotel, our home base, we cast our eyes upward, up to the heights, up to Victoria Peak, where our own personal weather god is standing by, Spencer Christian. Hi, Spence.
Thank you, Joan. Well, you could say I've reached new heights in my career. At 1,794 feet, I'm at the tallest point, Victoria Peak, on Hong Kong Island, although there are taller mountains in the new territories. But as far as the region that we're in, this is the highest point. And right now we're going to descend from the heights just a little bit and take a look at today's national weather forecast. And now here's a look at today's high temperatures. That's a quick look at the national weather picture. Now here's a look at the weather where you are.
A winter storm warning remains in effect for the northern third of Ohio for early this morning. We have some freezing rain out there. That should change over to some rain and drizzle for the rest of the day. As temperatures warm up above freezing, we'll have a high of 42 degrees today with northeast winds at 15 to 25 miles per hour. Overnight, any light rain or showers left over should change over to some snow after midnight as temperatures fall below freezing again. Our low down to 28. Tomorrow, cloudy and cooler, scattered snow, our high 32.
And we'll have more on today's weather in the next half hour, and later in the program we'll have a talk with U.S. Consul General Richard Mueller. Joan?
No, Spencer, it's me, but it's still 10 minutes after the hour. One of the things that everybody wants to know is whether there's street crime here. Hong Kong does not have street crime. They say you can walk anywhere in this city at any time and be safe, but it does have organized crime, and the organized criminals here have an effect on street crime back in the United States. There are secret societies here that date back to the 1600s. They are called Triads. And despite attempts to stop the Triads, an international police conference opened here just this week, they continue to flourish. And our money editor, Tyler Mathisen, is here with more on the Triads.
That's right, Charlie. The Triads actually began on the mainland as revolutionary political groups whose goal was to restore the Ming dynasty to power after it had been toppled by the Manchus. But today, their works are far more wide-ranging and far less patriotic. This bust could take place in any city in the U.S., but this one, in Hong Kong, targets a member of the Triads, the city's ruthless gangs, which many law enforcement officials now consider the world's #1 organized crime threat, greater even than the mafia.
Triads are involved in anything that makes a dollar. I mean, they're criminals. Triad societies don't have any patriotic or any other allegiance other than to the dollar. They're criminals.
Hong Kong Police Inspector Bob Ewell heads up a special anti-triad task force. His target, an army of more than 100,000 gang members in 50 crime syndicates in Hong Kong alone. But Triad influence reaches far beyond this city of 6 million.
Wherever there's a Chinatown, restaurants, bars, nightclubs that are controlled by Chinese and run by Chinese businessmen probably pay some form of extortion. It's a way of life in many respects.
Triads have been in Asia at least since the 17th century. In fact, some experts speculate that the Italian mafia even modeled its family structure after them. Like the mafia, Triads are a secret society with their own loyalty oaths and rituals.
They have to dot their middle finger and put the blood inside a bowl of water. And all the members, they have to drink the blood. Then they are called blood brother. If anyone disobey the rules, they will be killed or punished.
This man is an undercover agent who infiltrated a Triad gang whose specialty is extortion at construction sites. The Triads are also deeply involved in racketeering and prostitution in Hong Kong's seedy nightclub districts. More recently, though, police have stepped up their anti-gang operations on the water, cracking down on Triads trying to smuggle luxury goods, like cars and VCRs, into China.
When this anti-smuggling task force started, they were stealing on an average 5 cars a day. One car can go on one speedboat, and they can get about $1 million worth of electrical goods on a speedboat as well.
Inspector Laurie Poots leads an anti-smuggling task force on nightly raids in the waters around Hong Kong. We're on one of 3 police speedboats. They're known in Chinese as Gai Fei, or Big Flyers, and these babies can do just that, hitting top speeds of 55 to 60 knots. The smugglers, if we do encounter any, will be in a boat much like this one, because this was a smuggler's boat before the police confiscated it and refitted it with 5 300-horsepower Evinrudes. Chase boats find their targets with the help of patrol boats equipped with radar and thermal sensing gear. On this night, the only target, an innocent-looking fishing boat that was stopped and searched anyway. Triads often equip these vessels with radios and then use them as lookouts. This one was clean. Triad smugglers don't just transport goods illegally, the human trade is flourishing as well. Most notoriously, the ship Golden Venture run aground with its human cargo off New York City last year.
Well, people are smuggled to the U.S. by gangs organized from Hong Kong, but they won't move people from China into Hong Kong and then to the States. That's putting an extra risk on their part, an extra step which they don't need to take.
The same routes used to smuggle humans are also employed to ship drugs.
The DEA sees Chinese triads as being the biggest importers of heroin into the States now. They've taken over from the mafia.
They're not going away. It takes a concerted effort between ourselves and the law enforcement agencies, not just in the States, but throughout the world, working together to combat it.
Meanwhile, night and day, police fight a seemingly endless war with a growing organized crime threat that they can only hope to suppress, never eliminate.
Great story that you told me about how they hide cars when they smuggle them into China.
These guys are amazingly brazen. They've been known actually to shrink wrap a Mercedes-Benz in plastic and tow it underwater behind one of these super powerful boats. Mercedes-Benz very proud of the fact that their cars don't rust, but this would test any car.
General feeling that when the Chinese take over in 1997, that will hurt the Triads, or will they continue to flourish?
Not at all, far from it. In fact, the Triads are thought to have a very powerful ally in China, namely the People's Liberation Army, who are thought to be their main business partners, and in fact run cover for them when they get close to China. So, in fact, they're really expanding, diversifying into China. It may become their new base of operations.
All right, thank you very much, Tyler Mathisen. It is now 16 minutes after the hour. We're going to take a commercial break. I wanted you to have a look at some of the audience that was nice enough to come down and join us this morning. And when we come back, comparison shopping in Hong Kong. We'll show you where the bargains are and where the fakes are.
It's twice the fun when you bring a friend. Receive 2 sessions for the price of 1. Weekday specials apply. Call 1-800-GLAMOUR now.
When you shop Sun TV, you'll always find super savings, courteous service, and an unbeatable selection on thousands of brand new, brand name products. Plus, our lowest certified price guarantee assures you that Sun's prices won't be beat. This 486 SLC with a 120 meg hard drive is $647, and this IBM 486 SX with a 129 meg hard drive and 4 meg of RAM is $797. The best savings, service, and selection are at Sun TV, where you know you pay less.
Escape the winter blahs at the new Cleveland Flower Festival, February 19th through the 27th at the Cleveland Convention Center. Park free, ride free. Call for details.
Here's a pop quiz for you. How much is this Oldsmobile Cutlass Sierra with airbag, anti-lock brakes, and all of this equipment? Well, maybe before value pricing, but now it's only $14,195. Now, can you tell me what value pricing is? No, more for less. And if this Cutlass Sierra, which gets 31 miles per gallon highway, was traveling east at 55 miles per hour, how far could you get on a half a tank of gas? It's your money.
Hyperkeratosis? Symptom: persistent, itchy, flaky scalp. Solution: Neutrogena T-Gel. It works.
I'm Mark Stefanski, chairman of Third Federal Savings. More than 50 years ago, my father, Ben Stefanski, started Third Federal here on Broadway. He wanted personally to help the people in his neighborhood save money to fulfill their dream of owning a home. Since then, we've grown nearly $4 billion, and we have 21 offices here in northeastern Ohio. But we're still here on Broadway, and we're still dedicated to our 3 basic principles of thrift, home ownership, and personal customer service. Helping people achieve their dream is the Third Federal way.
18 minutes after right now. When you say Hong Kong, somewhere in the back of your brain, a little cash register goes jing jing. You say there are great bargains here. You say clothes and electronics are half price. Well, we've been out shopping around and we say maybe yes, maybe no. But to help sort out the fact from the fiction is the author of Born to Shop, Suzy Gershman. And I've taken her shopping with me a couple days here, so I know you're good. Let's start with pearls, because a lot of the guys here say, my wife wants me to buy pearls. And give us everything in U.S. dollars, so we don't have to figure out the math.
All right.
Are they a good buy?
They're a good buy in the very expensive high range
The thing about pearls is you have to be able to judge the quality. If you're not an expert, you need a reliable dealer so that you know you can get good guidance.
So don't buy pearls from the guy on the street.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
And if you're not going to pay $1,000 a strand, you're not getting a bargain either way. $1,000 pearls here and $1,000 in the States. It's when you pay $3,000 for pearls in Hong Kong, those are worth $5,000.
You're going to get
States.
Unbelievable quality.
So that's what.
So if you want to buy something a little less expensive, yeah, let's go on to the next thing and forego the pearls. All right, what next? Because there are tons of clothes made here. Designers, every designer in the world, from, you know, like American Gap and all those things up to, you know,
European. Remember those Armani?
Oh.
Well, how about Ralph Lauren polo shirts? Bought it in the street market for $5 US. This
so now here's a real bargain, and it's the real thing, right?
No, it's not the real thing, Joan. I mean, the horse does have 4 legs. It's got a tag. It's got a logo. Feel those goods. This is going to shrink. The size isn't true.
I've never seen so many fakes in my life.
It's a fun souvenir for $5. But it is not the real thing.
Okay, so wait a second. What if you buy the real thing here? Is that a bargain?
Not in designer merchandise. These are real Ferragamo shoes. Bought them at a bargain shop in the United States. I paid $68. If I went to Ferragamo on 5th Avenue, $165. Hong Kong price for Ferragamo shoes, $280.
All right, so you can spend more. You can spend double.
Yes, you can really
Quick
get
question,
taken.
because everywhere you go here, they say, copy watch, lady, copy watch, because they want to sell you a fake watch, or they'll take you back and show you fake Chanel bags and fake Louis Vuittons. Is there a big difference between the fake and the real?
Yes, the gold is too gold, the leather is too plasticky. Other than a quick, fast glimpse, if you really look to tell the time, you're going to know what time it is.
And they may not continue working forever, right?
May not keep on ticking.
Here's the other thing. This place has always been known to be a great place to buy electronics and things like that. And a lot of them are made here. But is it still, it's not
You
still...
can get lucky, you can get taken. This is a camera I bought at home, a point and shoot. I paid $89 for it. Then I saw it advertised in the Dallas newspaper, one of those big Sunday ads, $77. Already could have gone to Dallas. Hard to find the same model, got traded up, traded around, finally found it, asking price $142.
See, that's so strange.
Even if I had bargained on this, I would have been taken. But the asking price on the Handycam, which would cost $500 in the U.S. would be a good price. Asking price on Nathan Road, $400 U.S. Who knows what I could have paid if I'd bargained.
All right. What next?
Well, this is the real story of being taken for a ride. I bought these for $10, $10 U.S., thinking it was a great Hong Kong souvenir, even went with my dress, the Diane Freeze bargain of the century.
I'll get to that,
And then my girlfriend, Carolyn, in Orlando, Florida, bought the identical beads, bought them as an antique in an antique shop, paid the same $10.
But there are antique shops all over.
It depends on your definition of an antique. Is that 100 years old, or is that made yesterday? Can be made to look antique.
Made to look antique. Now, like a dress like this. I mean, this is a Diane Freeze dress. It's a designer that you'd buy in the United States. They have a store here in the hotel. Can you save money buying something like that?
Did I save money buying this dress, Joan?
She gets so excited when she finds a bargain. You can't believe it.
This is basically a $500 dress, and with beads on it, it costs more at Saks Fifth Avenue. In Diane's shop here, $250. I bought it at the factory outlet store, $69. Yay!
All right. All right, thanks, Suzy. Can I go shopping with you today? Thanks.
Sure.
We'll be back in just a moment.
If you've had excess gas when taking these, try Citracel. All other powdered fibers contain psyllium, which may initially cause gas and bloating. But Citracel's fiber is as effective without producing gas. Citracel, effective relief without the gas.
From now on, your Raisin Nut brand will be different. We've added 25% more nut-covered raisins. We thought you should be prepared. Look for specially marked boxes.
With trusting eyes, the children show minds open, hearts true. Our spirits grow. The touch, the feel, the fabric of our lives. The touch, the feel of cotton, the fabric of our lives.
This week, a case of global proportions. Meet Suparna Singh. Every weekend, her M.O. was the same. Her brother in Bombay, grandparents in Great Britain. She loved being in constant contact, except when she got her phone bill. Her crime? Not taking advantage of Sprint's new offer to split the cost of calls all weekend long. Don't let this happen to you. Call now before it's too late. An offer this good can't last forever.
Only Sprint gives you 50% off calls to every country all weekend long.
It's better.
Not bitter.
Surprise.
It's sweet.
Ocean Spray.
Ruby
red, tangerine, grapefruit juice drink.
Tangerine.
Surprise.
Very, very sweet.
It's not any ordinary grapefruit juice.
Ruby red and tangerine. Crave the wave.
Now there are dress shoes with the cushioning of athletic shoes. Easy Spirit pumps. Now in new colors for spring. Easy Spirit. Looks like a pump, feels like a sneaker.
This News Channel 5 update is sponsored in part by COSI, the Growth Association's Council of Small Enterprises.
Now, from News Channel 5, Cleveland's live 24-hour news source continues.
Good morning once again. I'm Bill Yunkin. A Cleveland police officer is lucky to be alive this morning after a utility pole came crashing through his windshield during a high-speed chase. It happened late last night near the corner of East 49th and Central. Police say they were chasing a man in a suspected stolen car when the car struck a pole, bringing it down. Police officer Gary Mullins escaped with only minor injuries. He was treated and released from Charity Hospital. The suspect, he remains hospitalized in stable condition. A bank robber is in custody thanks to another East Side officer. A Cleveland patrolman was cruising St. Clair Avenue yesterday afternoon when someone flagged him down. They say the Society Bank at East 150th was just robbed and the thief was around the corner. The veteran officer spotted the man and started pursuing him on foot.
I just pulled my gun out and chased him a little ways. And then I brought him back to the car and made him put his hands on the top of the car. Told him to take his hand out of the bag because I don't know if there's a gun in the bag or not.
A single-handed catch. 36-year-old Terrence Mitchell of Cleveland is now behind bars. Police say he has an extensive criminal record, including robbery. Students at Wycliffe High may smell some smoke in their school today thanks to a fire in the auto shop. Firefighters aren't sure exactly what started it, but they say there wasn't much damage, not enough anyway, to close the school down. There will be classes today at Wycliffe High. But that's not the case at Normandy High School in Parma, where a fire last week caused a lot of damage. Teachers and staff are to report to school today, but the students at Normandy get another day off while the cleanup continues. If it was an honor, you better believe this next story would be a hot item. Actor Tom Cruise has been named the Hasty Pudding Theatrical's Man of the Year. Yes, sir. Take a look at him. Cruise has starred in such movies as Top Gun and The Firm, so he's played all kinds of roles, from a lawyer to a Navy pilot to a drag car racer, and now look what he's up to. High heels and all. We'll be back with some school closings and Mark's weather forecast in a minute. Stay with us.
If you own a business, here's a word you should know. COSI.
Look into the Growth Association's Council of Smaller Enterprises.
The buying power of 13,000 member companies
helps us get the best group healthcare coverage at the best rates.
I get support and advice on tough business problems.
Valuable business contacts.
And a strong voice in government.
To keep your business healthy, call COSI. We'll save you money and help your business grow. 621-3300.
0 to 60. Straight versus slalom. A demonstration of who Lexus is relentlessly pursuing. The all-new Cadillac Seville SLS with the North Star system. Now with the new power of a smart lease. Just $539 a month for 24 months and $2,200 down.
See your local Cadillac Gold Key dealers.
This weather note, some folks in Garfield Heights are without power because of the weather. CEI is out working to fix that. In Medina County, Black River schools are on a 1-hour delay, and classes at Normandy High School in Parma are canceled again today due to last Thursday's fire. Mark now has a final look at the weather, and
Things are
getting better, isn't it?
Things are going to get better in downtown Cleveland. We still have some freezing rain here in greater Cleveland, but south of us, it's already rain. It's already changed over to rain, so things looking up in the Akron-Canton area. 2 to 3 inches of snow fell overnight, about an inch at Hopkins Airport. Then that changed to freezing rain around 3 a.m. And as I said, temperatures have been warming up throughout the morning, and we are starting to see things change over from ice to just plain old rain. That's what we want. Winter storm warning in effect for this morning for the northern third of Ohio. The best news is you can see the rain is ending and the freezing rain is ending from west to east. That will continue over the next couple of hours. We should see that winter storm warning canceled by about 10 or 10:30. Also a flood watch in effect today. We've got another batch of rain in Indiana right now. That'll be headed into the Cleveland area this afternoon. Currently 33 degrees, right at that critical temperature, just about where we'll see the changeover from freezing to just liquid water. 34 degrees Akron-Canton. Freezing rain today, changing to rain, and then that'll taper off to some drizzle this morning. Some more rain moving in for the afternoon. We'll have a high of 42 degrees. Overnight, lots of clouds, rain, changing back to snow.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, low down to 28 degrees.
Just keeps coming.
Just keeps on coming.
Have a great day. Now, did everyone get that? Well, if you didn't, let's try it again in English.
Hello, I'm Sarah. I'm Fiona.
And May.
At the Jumbo 14 restaurant in Hong Kong. Good morning, America.
Oh, that's great.
All right, much better if you get it in English. Good morning, everyone. I'm Charles Gibson.
And I'm Joan Lunden. It's Wednesday, February the 23rd.
And we are back at our post in Hong Kong. And this city really does attract all the senses. And one of the most fascinating sights in this city, believe it or not, is construction scaffolding. Now, I know that no one travels halfway around the world to see construction scaffolding, but what makes this so remarkable is the fact that the scaffolding that is used in Hong Kong is made not of iron or steel, it is made of bamboo. In a few moments, our science editor, Michael Guillen, will be here to talk about this versatile grass that is used in modern construction. It is so incongruous that these steel and glass marvels over here are made largely with a centuries-old technique.
And it really looks strange when you see the big structure and all the bamboo around it. Take a look. Can you just see the sight out here right now? There's a helicopter just hovering right over the boat right out here in the harbor. What a sight. And Steve Fox, coming up in a little while, is going to take us inside the homes of some of the ordinary citizens who live here, the ordinary residents. They have to cope with spending over 2/3 of their income in many cases for very small housing. And everybody's kind of living jammed on top of each other. Also, big dispute over a new airport going in here, and it kind of gives you the idea of a little bit of the turbulence between the British and the Chinese government as the whole takeover is coming up. Right now, though, we're going to go back to New York, where Morton Dean has the morning's news for us. Morton, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. A startling event in Russia with unknown ramifications. In Moscow, the parliament is granting full amnesty to the Russians who staged the armed rebellion against Boris Yeltsin last October. The blanket pardon also includes the communists who tried to overthrow then-Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev in August of 1991. Under the new constitution, Yeltsin cannot overrule the pardons. Also in Moscow today, U.S. Ambassador Thomas Pickering delivered a formal protest to the Russian foreign minister, a protest over a spy case that has rocked Washington. CIA counterintelligence officer Aldrich Ames and his wife were arrested yesterday. Both are accused of selling national security secrets to the Kremlin for the past 8 years. Federal Reserve Chairman Alan Greenspan is warning that long-term economic gain may mean more short-term pain. ABC's Stephen Ogg has that story and more in his morning economic report.
Good morning. Greenspan told members of a House banking subcommittee that low inflation and low long-term interest rates have given the nation's economy its best outlook in decades. But to keep the economy growing, the Fed will have to prevent inflation from flaring up again. And the price?
To promote sustainable growth, history suggests that real short-term rates are more likely to have to rise than fall from here.
Greenspan said he was not able to predict when rates would go up again. Meanwhile, the Federal Communications Commission has taken a second whack at forcing cable TV companies to lower their rates. Last year, under a new law regulating cable TV, the FCC ordered a rate cut averaging 10%. But there were howls after about a third of consumers said their rates actually went up. Now the FCC is ordering a 7% rate cut. The Commission says 90% of cable systems will drop prices for the same package of regulated services. Does that mean everybody will pay less?
I'm talking about either paying less for the same thing or paying the same amount of money for more value. I don't know which it'll be because that depends on the consumer's individual choices and the cable operator's individual reaction.
Finally, being a no-show at a restaurant may get expensive. The owner of a Columbus, Ohio restaurant is suing a customer for failing to keep his New Year's Eve reservation. The customer says, though, if a restaurant can sue a customer for not showing up, a customer can sue for having to wait in line even if he has a reservation. Anyway, they're suing each other. That's a look at the economy.
A blow to Japanese technological pride. The Japanese government announced yesterday that it may abandon its much-touted system of high-definition television in favor of one developed in the U.S. Stranded at sea on a tiny seat cushion from a jet ski, Dale Chimetti had been having a terrific time buzzing around on a jet ski off Cozumel, Mexico on Friday. The jet ski's engine died and Chimetti drifted off to sea. After 2 days, he says, he pleaded for a sign from God, and it appeared, a capped soda bottle with enough soda to sustain him until a German freighter came by and picked him up. He was tired and sunburned, but otherwise okay. And that's the news on the half hour. Back to more of Good Morning America in Hong Kong.
Here I am again at Victoria Peak at the home of the residence of the U.S. Consul General here in Hong Kong. I should point out there's been a U.S. consulate in Hong Kong since 1843, which was just 2 years after the British took possession. We'll talk more about that later. Right now, let me give you a little bit of a scene setter. That body of water out there, the nearest body of water, is Deepwater Bay, and out beyond that is Repulse Bay, which is on the southern part of the island where many of the 26 to 30,000 Americans who live here reside. And also we have some buildings down here which are in an area that's an extension actually of Aberdeen, which we can't see fully from here this morning, but we will be in Aberdeen tomorrow and we'll give you a better view. Right now we'll give you a view of the national weather picture. Here's a look at today's forecast. And now here's a look at today's high temperatures. That's a look at the national weather. Here's a look at the weather where you are.
A winter storm warning for the greater Cleveland area early this morning. Freezing rain changing over to rain and drizzle for the rest of the day as temperatures warm up to 42 for a high. Overnight, rain changing back to snow with a low down to 28. Scattered snow tomorrow, high 32.
And we'll have more on today's weather and a chat with U.S. Consul General Richard Mueller in the next half hour. Joan?
All right, Spencer, coming up next, our science editor Michael Guillen on bamboo, used for everything from toothpicks to the scaffolding, which they use to build these giant steel skyscrapers. Live from Hong Kong in just a bit.
Now for new Sinead IB, here's Michael Learned.
How good is your memory? Because if you suffer from sinus attacks like I do, I want you to remember this. New Sinead IB. Sinead IB. It's the most important sinus breakthrough in Sinead history because it combines a potent sinus pressure reliever with a powerful sinus pain reliever, ibuprofen. Totally new Sinead IB. Remember the name and forget your pain. New Sinead IB.
Wilford Brimley for Honey Nut Quaker Toasted Oatmeal.
I never thought I'd get fired up about a cold cereal, but this Quaker Toasted Oatmeal, I love it.
Tell how it tastes.
Okay, here's Honey Nut. It's got clusters of,
honey, oats, and almonds. Tell how it crunches.
I think you just did, but here's the thing. It's got grains of oatmeal on every oatmeal flake. That's oatmeal on top of oatmeal. Same goodness as the hot stuff.
Quaker Toasted Oatmeal, original and Honey Nut.
It's my other oatmeal.
This is no ordinary mint mouthwash. This is Cool Mint Listerine. It kills the germs that cause bad breath. It fights plaque above the gum line. It protects you against the early threat of the gum infection, gingivitis. It's more than a mint mouthwash. This is great-tasting Cool Mint Listerine.
When I was on other diets, I couldn't control my appetite. I always felt hungry, and I was so easily tempted. So easily tempted.
Just one Dexatrim controls your appetite all day. You eat less and start losing weight from day one.
I went down 2 pant sizes, and it just made me feel like running around and screaming like a loon because it just feels great. That's my story. I lost 10.5 pounds, and I did it with Dexatrim. I was like, yes.
Just one Dexatrim and you start losing weight from day one.
It is 39 minutes now after the hour. You're just going to have to believe me that Hong Kong is a city in a constant state of construction. Everywhere you look on the skyline, you see cranes and construction scaffolding. But take a close look at that scaffolding. Our science editor, Michael Guillen, did, and believe me when you see it, it will surprise you.
Many of the ships coming into Hong Kong harbor are loaded with bamboo from China's Quanzi province. 10 million poles a year. Some for making chopsticks, baskets, and furniture. But most for making scaffolding. Everywhere you look, you see workers clinging to buildings crisscrossed with bamboo. Amazing when you realize that bamboo is really nothing but a grass. Amazing, too, that bamboo scaffolding is a multi-billion-dollar business, the biggest share of which goes to a company run by Francis So.
The business started by my grandfather. I think we were back to 1920-something. And my father started his own company in 1953.
And they all used bamboo scaffolding?
Yes, that's a tradition for Chinese.
The idea of bamboo scaffolding is credited to a famous Chinese carpenter named Lu Pan, about 2,500 years ago. Today, these harrowing bamboo skeletons rise up to 78 stories high, held together with nothing but nylon ties. Now, these techniques actually date back thousands of years, right?
Yes.
And they've been handed down from one generation to another.
That's true.
Amazing.
Now, you see?
Pretty tight, I'd say.
A long time ago, there were 2 buildings, one adjacent to another, one with a steel scaffold, the other one is with a bamboo scaffold. And then after typhoon, the steel scaffold collapsed.
Why do you think the bamboo scaffolding survived the typhoon?
The steel one is a rigid one. The bamboo scaffold can be more flexible.
At this school, kids as young as 14 learn the tricks of the trade.
I want to learn this job because I can earn a lot of money, and also I can give half the profit to my family, and the rest I can keep it.
Bamboo scaffolders make twice as much money as teachers do, but considering the dangers involved, they deserve every penny and then some. Despite the danger, there have been relatively few fatalities among bamboo scaffolders. For example, in Mr. So's company, only 3 have died since 1953. A surprisingly low number considering that many won't even wear this safety harness required by the Hong Kong government.
They behave like acrobats.
Bamboo scaffolders may date back thousands of years, but in some ways they are the perfect symbol of modern Hong Kong. A glaring and daring contrast of the old and the new.
It really does look strange when you see it for the first time. It is now 42 minutes after the hour. Next, Steve Fox is going to take a look at middle-class life in this territory of billionaires. That when Good Morning America continues from Hong Kong here on ABC.
Travel by Japan Airlines, a dependable world of comfort with nonstop flights from 7 U.S. gateways to Tokyo and connections to more points in Asia than any U.S. airline.
Will Max and Luna on One Life to Live live happily ever after? Find out when actor James DePaiva joins us.
Morning talk show host Regis Philbin will share his fitness secrets.
And Linda Hirsch Wednesday.
We're at this seafood restaurant famous for shrimp. Say, how many shrimp they give you?
I don't know, 5, 6.
Really? Over Denny's, they're having an all-you-can-eat shrimp feast.
Oh, we got fries, too.
Yeah, Denny's, you get fries, coleslaw, and all the shrimp you can eat.
Mine was under $10.
Denny's is $6.99.
Oh, but we had this beautiful fishnet thing over our table.
Denny's puts all the shrimp you can eat on the table.
Oh, ours was on a plate.
Denny's, $6.99, all-you-can-eat shrimp feast. Say, how many shrimp they give you?
What?
We've got good skiing today on freshly groomed powder. And remember, weekdays are half price, so come on up.
Can a simple walk make your legs cramp so badly you just stop? If you think this pain is just part of growing old, call your doctor. You could have peripheral arterial disease, and it usually gets worse over time. Stop and call your doctor today. If your legs tingle, go numb, feel so heavy the pain can stop you, call your doctor. You could have a progressive circulatory disease. Ignore these symptoms, and you may stop walking for good. Call your doctor today.
Conversion vans, Bass Chevrolet's got over 70 from the top name van converters, with your choice of colors, styles, interiors, and options, including automatic air, power windows and locks, AM/FM cassette, tilt wheel, and cruise control. The price is so low we can't mention it on TV, but I will anyway, starting at $17,795.
That's the handiwork. Thompson Nelly gives the cars away at 4499 Northfield Road, a home of Bass Chevrolet.
Treadmills, steppers, home gyms, and all weightlifting equipment is 40%, 50%, and even 60% off at Leisure Time Warehouse's factory liquidation sale. Don't miss it.
Hong Kong is one of the most densely populated places in the world. 6 million people crowded into a space that is less than 40 square miles. Steve Fox takes a closer look at how they live on this tiny little spot, from the most well-heeled citizen to just the average working Hong Kong resident.
When you consider that 10 of the world's billionaires live in Hong Kong and add in one of the world's highest per capita rates of millionaires, it makes sense that the colony has its fair share of sumptuous apartments and mansions. But generally speaking, Hong Kong opulence is more subdued than gaudy.
By and large, they are not too ostentatious, particularly the older generation. You know, the generation that made it since coming to Hong Kong. They're not into flaunting their wealth. I mean, being driven around in a Mercedes or Rolls Royce is as about ostentatious as they get.
Then there's the middle class. Cecilia and Thomas Tavares both work as travel agents, mainly because it takes 2 jobs to support their family.
A lot of time families spend 2/3 or maybe sometimes, well, at minimum is half of the salary goes to the housing. Some people even, 2/3 of their salary goes to the housing.
How do you have money left over to live if you're in the middle class?
You skim on other things. Yes. You cut out the odd meal in the restaurant. You cut out clothes. You cut out holidays.
So for those who can afford it, however painfully, rents and mortgages can be very expensive. And for those who can't afford it, rents are subsidized. Public housing is an essential fact of life for about half of Hong Kong's residents. Currently, about 3 million people are living in public housing estates, mainly high-rise apartments. For most of Hong Kong's history, public housing did not exist, and living conditions were terrible, overcrowded, and unsanitary. Then, after the communists won the Chinese Civil War in 1949, refugees began to pour into Hong Kong, and the authorities were forced to alleviate conditions at the squalid squatter camps. The population of Hong Kong doubled between 1951 and 1971, and the Government Housing Authority became one of the world's biggest public landlords. 44-year-old Cheng Lai Sun starts most days by making an offering of incense at his household ancestral shrine. He, his wife, and 3 kids live in a 450 square foot apartment for which they pay the equivalent of $136 a month. He makes about $1,000 a month working 6 days a week as a courier. A private apartment of the same size would cost almost all of his salary.
The important thing is the steady rent. In private housing, I have to pay much more.
His wife, 36-year-old Chan Shanzhu, remembers what it was like growing up before public housing was built.
Before I lived in a small wooden house, but everyone knew each other. People would help each other. Here it is more individual. People shut their doors, they all have their own places. But here it is cleaner and more spacious.
Public housing will no doubt continue to be a Hong Kong institution, since the population is expected to increase by at least another 1 million people, almost 20%, during this decade, drawn by the Hong Kong dream.
In other cities, you get the feeling that, life is not getting you anywhere. There is unemployment, In some cities in the West, 10% unemployment. In Hong Kong, the unemployment rate is under 2%. There is rising income in Hong Kong, as I said, 10% a year. So the expectation is that things can get better. This is an enormously positive attitude. This is a forward-looking city. This is a city of hope.
Coming up next, tensions between Britain and China over a huge new airport construction project. When Good Morning America continues from Hong Kong here on ABC.
Say an awful lot of mean things to you. I'm sure that anybody in the world would give an awful lot of dough to have a friend like you.
Best friends from MCI, the least expensive way for two friends to call each other.
Some people just want clean teeth, but others want to keep their teeth healthy for life. For you, Oral-B introduces the Advantage Plaque Remover. Its power tip removes plaque behind your back teeth, and its action cup is clinically proven to be highly effective against gum disease. So the Advantage has the same goal as you and your dentist, helping your permanent teeth stay that way. The new Advantage Plaque Remover, the best toothbrush ever from Oral-B, the brand more dentists use.
These are some of the thousands of homeowners who call Centennial Mortgage Company every day of the week for mortgage refinancing or home equity loans. Centennial helps people just like you with bill consolidation, home improvement, and many other personal needs. And Centennial even works with people who have had credit problems in the past or have been turned down by other lenders. So call Centennial now. You'll be glad you did. And then join with the many, many homeowners who now say,
Thank you, Centennial.
Your Pontiac dealers are so excited by the Cleveland Auto Show, they're seeing double. So they're doubling current factory rebates with special auto show incentives on their two most popular models. For a limited time, qualifying buyers can double their value on new Grand Ams with $500 extra cash back for a total of $1,000. Or double your value on Bonneville with $750 extra cash back for a total of $1,500. Double your excitement with special auto show incentives. Get the details at the Cleveland Auto Show or see your Northern Ohio Pontiac dealer today.
It is now 9 minutes before the hour. Nothing better illustrates the tensions between Britain and China or the difficulties of handing over power in 1997. Like a public works project, a huge public works project that is being built near here that's going to straddle that date. They are building a new airport in Hong Kong. Deborah Wang of ABC News is here with a report on this high-profile and, as I mentioned, very high-priced project that is a sticking point in the haggling over Hong Kong. Deborah?
Thanks, Charlie. Hong Kong prides itself on being a center for tourism, trade, and finance. But anyone who's flown into Hong Kong's Kai Tak Airport knows immediately that what's needed here is a major change.
It's like no other airport in the world. The planes fly in low, at times just barely skimming the rooftops of one of Hong Kong's most densely populated neighborhoods. Then, with a last sharp turn, they land on a single runway jutting out into the harbor. Wong Lai Fong and her family live directly beneath the flight path. Sometimes I look up and see the planes and I think the luggage is going to fall on me, she says. Despite its cramped location, more than 400 planes fly in and out of Kai Tak every day, making it the third busiest airport in the world and one of the most overcrowded.
It's very crowded. It's crowded in the parking areas and the bays, low ceilings, people on top of each other.
How much does Hong Kong need a new airport? How badly?
Desperately.
But help is on the way. On this tiny island, Chek Lap Kok, work has begun on a new airport, billed as the largest infrastructure project in the world. The airport will eventually handle 3 times as much traffic as Kai Tak. Passengers will travel to and from the island on a series of tunnels and on the world's longest suspension bridge.
How big is it?
Big with a capital B. It's an enormous project.
But the future of the project is looking more and more unclear due to the objections of Beijing. The Chinese are unhappy about the massive $21 billion price tag, some of which they will have to absorb after 1997. The stalemate is adding to the final cost of the project and to the frustration of travelers who may have to put up with Hong Kong's old airport even longer.
Bottom line question, will it be built? Why has this become so problematic?
It will be built. Both sides say they want this new airport. It's just a question of who's going to pay for it. The Chinese seem to be worried that the Hong Kong government is trying to raid the coffers before 1997 and that they will saddle the Chinese government after 97 with a great deal of debt. So that's what the haggling is all about.
A lot of financiers are putting money into this, financiers in the, quote, free world, unquote. Are they going to continue to do so? Are they worried about their investments?
Well, they're doing it piece by piece at this point, but what they're waiting for, finally, is Chinese government's approval that this project will, in the end, go ahead. The big problem now, though, is a question of trust. The two sides aren't talking about it. If they could be able to work out their problems if they simply could sit down and talk about it.
Believe me, when you make that turn and that final approach into Kai Tak, the old airport, you think, boy, do they need something new around here. Deborah, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Good Morning America will continue. A commercial break, and we'll be right back.
In math class, it was so hard.
I hated math.
He was failing algebra. I just felt all stressed out.
I get F's.
F's.
We were pretty desperate.
She was sinking fast.
Sylvan was the answer. Her grades improved dramatically.
I didn't flunk. I got an A.
A's. Math is fun now.
I feel really good now.
Sylvan made all the difference in the world.
I love Sylvan.
For better grades tomorrow, call your nearby Sylvan Learning Center today at 1-800-EDUCATE. 1-800-EDUCATE.
Now's the time to get a great price on a home and a great price on a loan from Countrywide, their best price guarantee. Apply for a Countrywide fixed-rate home purchase loan with low monthly payments. If you can get a lower combination of rates and points elsewhere, Countrywide will beat it or pay you $100. Call Countrywide now, 800-877-LOAN. 800-877-LOAN. I like it. Countrywide, best price guarantee.
Let's talk smart. Let's talk Eagle Vision, V6, power windows and locks, air conditioning and automatic transmission. Let's talk safety. Let's talk lease. We're talking $245 a month. Hey, stop talking and go test drive a new Vision ESI. It's the least we can do for you.
See your Superstar Jeep and Eagle dealer today.
If getting what you paid for is an old-fashioned notion, then our furniture, while it may not look it, is remarkably old-fashioned. Lazy Boy Furniture Galleries.
Now, during the Lazy Boy Super Sale, get special financing. Just $20 down and $20 a month on one item or a whole room full of furniture. Plus, get 12 months free interest financing. Only at these fine area Lazy Boy Furniture Galleries and showcase shops.
Good Morning America in Hong Kong is brought to you by Cotton Incorporated.
Just before we close, we should mention the fleet is in town. U.S. sailors have descended on Hong Kong, coming out of Somalia on their way back to the United States. And the ships represented here are the
USS Denver.
USS Denver, and what's the other ship?
USS Cayuga.
The Cayuga, the Denver, the New Orleans is also in town. Lieutenant Commander Malik, is it? From the
Denver.
And you are coming out of Somalia after how long?
3.5 months.
Gonna feel good to get home?
Yes, sir, it is.
The United States Navy is supposed to come in and beat up a city, but what are they doing? No, no, no. They're here at a taping of a television show. Wave to the folks back home. And look who's in the audience right there.
I hadn't noticed. These guys are all from Ohio over here. Hi, guys. You been gone a long time?
Yeah, quite some time.
Yeah?
Over 5 months.
Oh.
We'll be back. Good Morning America continues. Stay with us.
Accommodations provided by the Regent Hong Kong, overlooking magnificent Victoria Harbor and Hong Kong Island. With luxurious rooms, award-winning cuisine, and impeccable service, the Regent among the world's finest hotels.
On the next home, enter Victoria Jackson's self-esteem makeover contest.
Rosa Parks refused to give up her bus seat and changed the course of history. For the first time, the story from her eyes.
Plus free food at the bread capital of the world.
Come on home.
The Critic.
I'm Jay Sherman.
Please don't give away the horrifying twist in this week's episode.
What terrifying secret makes the critics say,
Hachi Machi?
Find out on The Critic, part of America's comedy team before Home Improvement Wednesday.
Now, from News Channel 5, Cleveland's live 24-hour news source continues.
Good morning, I'm Bill. With Yunkin, one person was killed and 11 others were forced to jump to safety after fire gutted an Erie, Pennsylvania hotel. Rescue workers rescued some people in the building while others jumped from a second-floor balcony. And here's something to think about this morning. Property taxes are rising.